You are now tuned in to the Black Law Students Association of Canada's YouTube.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the 30th Annual BLSA Canada Fireside Chat Series. My name is Kendra Wilson, and I'm an incoming 3L at Windsor Law. And today I am joined by a pillar in the BLSA community, Arleen Huggins. We're so lucky to have you with us, and thank you for taking the time.
You're very welcome, Kendra.
Could you tell me a little bit about who you are, your firm name, and your experiences?
I am a lawyer, a partner with the law firm Koski Minsky in Toronto. It's primarily we practice litigation, and I'm specifically specialized in employment litigation as well as general litigation. We have a class action department, union side labor, and pension and employee benefits. And we have about 56 lawyers in our firm now, but there were only about 20 when I first started as an articling student in 1989.
So, what is the first thing that comes to mind when I say Black Law Students Association?
The first thing I think that comes to mind is the fact that BLSA wasn't in existence when I was in law school. I went to law school at University of Toronto after being an undergrad at University of Toronto. I grew up in Toronto, downtown Toronto, and it was a very diverse community that I grew up in, and undergrad was extremely diverse. And it was a bit of a shock going into the University of Toronto, and we had about 300 students a year. And I was the only Black law student in my first year and all through the rest of my 3 years, other than two Black law students who were graduate students, one from the Caribbean and one from Africa, and another student who transferred in my third year for part of the last semester because she was in her third, I think, trimester of pregnancy, and her family was in Toronto. So it was extremely isolating experience for me, and quite a difficult 3 years in that regard. I didn't see a lot of Black law students from other schools either. Osgoode Hall had a few, but we didn't really have the connection to the other law schools, so I really didn't get to meet a lot of Black law students from anywhere else. We had once a year, we had the law games, and we got to connect with law students across the country then, primarily across Ontario. And there were a few, but not very many. And I think BLSA changed that for a lot of law students.
BLSA has definitely played a role in increasing representation, but we still have a long way to go. In my classes in present day, there's sometimes one, maybe five other Black students out of 50 or 60 students. So it's still an ongoing issue, but I think we're doing a great job in pushing this forward. So what were some of the influences and or challenges you witnessed during practice that informed your commitment to being a regular contributor of BLSA?
Well, when I started with a firm in 1989 as an articling student, I was the only Black lawyer in the firm, and I realized that was the experience that most Black lawyers had certainly across the GTA, and I realized other parts of the country. So my interest in helping BLSA was to change that, to make sure there were other Black law students that had successful careers in other firms, other legal organizations, sole practice, and realized that it was up to those lawyers who were practicing to help BLSA and the students that were involved in BLSA and in bringing that to fruition. And I think BLSA's done an amazing job in supporting those students to get to that place.
I know that you were a big contributor you pushed for there to be funding for the Julius Alexander Isaac moot. Why do you believe it's important for firms or organizations to support BLSA?
BLSA is a student-run, created organization, and much like other not-for-profits, financial issues are always an issue, and BLSA requires funds to continue in the great work that it's doing. And I think it's really necessary for funds to be financial funds to be raised. And it's really difficult as students. It's difficult as students because you've got a full course load and all the work that comes with that. But it's also difficult for students to ask for money. Students approaching law firms, other lawyers, partners of firms, it's not easy. And I recognize that. And that's why, it was important for me personally to do what I could. So when BLSA came up with the idea of the moot and needed funds, I went to my firm, and they were very supportive and understood how important it was to support such an endeavor. And that's how we got to be the key sponsor for the diversity moot. It was then called the diversity moot, now the Julius Isaac diversity moot. And it also was important to encourage law students to build their skills, and to recognize that they were in a safe community to build their skills. BLSA went out of their way to bring in other lawyers to be judges, so that students could see other lawyers in the community who were practicing, people that they could see, they could emanate and see themselves in. And it was important for them to know that they had the support of Black lawyers in the community and judges. So I think that the diversity meet was such an important and critical thing for BLSA to organize, and we were happy to support it for all these years.
So, in response, I just wanted to say that this year we were able to secure two Supreme Court justices, and I really saw how Black law students valued from the input, especially future litigators. We all felt really inspired, and we saw like possibilities. And I think BALS has been a great organization that shows us that it's possible for us to reach for the stars. So I know that's a little cliche, but that's
not a cliche at all, and certainly from the inception of the moot till through all these years, I've seen not only the commitment of BLSA growing in terms of the number of schools that have been involved, but the skills of those students who have been contributing have been amazing. I was not only judging the moot for many years, but I coached a team for a year and could see how hard they worked, and the students were amazing. And it's important for other lawyers who are involved to see that. It helps students get exposure, helps students when they're interviewing with firms to be able to say they participated in the BLSA moot. And have that kind of experience and to add to their resume. It's an excellent opportunity for them, and even more students should take advantage of it every year.
Most definitely. I was involved on the organizing level this year, but next year for sure I'll be on the other side. And I hope you're there to judge or see me.
I think I've missed 1 year in the last number of years, so I'll be there. I'll definitely be there.
Perfect. So what would you say was your or has been your fondest memories, as a judge with the mood, or just as a mentor through BLSA?
I think my fondest memories and my best memories of BLSA is in a mentorship capacity, not as a formal mentor, but as someone who could be accessed for all students. My difficulty with being a mentor to one or two students was there were always students calling me, and I felt that I could benefit them most by spending some time with all of them. And so over the years, I'm happy to say I've never not spoken to anyone that called me or emailed me. And I think more students have to do that. Whether you have a formal mentor or not, reach out to us in the community. Black lawyers are always willing to help and assist and do what they can. And I think more students need to take advantage of us. If you're applying to a firm, go on their website. If there's a black face on the website, reach out to us. Definitely. I think BLSA students are a little bit shy sometimes, and I think they can do more to make connections with individuals who are racialized in different firms, especially black lawyers, but any racialized lawyers. Some firms don't have any black lawyers. And that's something, whether it's to talk, whether it's to ask questions about the firm, whether it's to get some insight, use this to do what we can. We might be able to influence getting an interview at least. But whatever we can do, we're happy to do. And I think that we want BLSA members to definitely know that and contact us.
This year, I chaired the second annual Lloyd Dean Moot, and one thing that I wanted was for a lot of Black judges on Bay Street to be involved, and going through all the websites because we went all the way out. We saw that there was sometimes no Black lawyers at some firms, and at others maybe one. To students who feel that it's a dog eat dog world, how can we be so sure that everyone might be approachable, and be willing to provide advice and opinion for them to succeed?
I think they know that myself and other lawyers who have come before them are experiencing the same things they are. The same feelings of isolation, the same feelings that we're the only ones. And because we've been through that, we know what you're going through. We understand what you're going through. And that's why we'll go out of our way to help you, because we recognize some law schools still today only have one or two students across the country, especially in the western provinces, in the prairies, and we know that, and that's why we are willing to go the extra mile and do everything we can. BLSA's done an amazing job in creating these chapters across the country, and working to try to help undergraduate students apply to law school and be supported through law school. They've done amazing things, and we in the profession want to help. And so Black lawyers in the profession are willing to go that extra mile to help those. And I'm happy to get a call from anyone, whether it's in Ontario, outside of Ontario. Email me. We can set things up, and other lawyers are willing to do the same. So I think that we want to encourage that. The other thing I know is we understand how difficult it is to run an organization like BLSA, to do such wonderful things in the community that BLSA is doing. BLSA Cares, and as well as law students. And we know how difficult it is to do that while you're taking classes, articling, all of that. And it is really important that BLSA gets the support, and really important that BLSA Black students participate in BLSA and actively participate. I was on a member of the Dulles Davis Law Guild, an organization of Black lawyers that was sort of back in the day, so to speak. And then the Canadian Association of Black Lawyers. I was an executive member for many years. That was created in 1996. I know how hard it is. The work of the executive and committees, it's work. And by supporting students, hopefully we can support students being more active in BLSA, to join the executive, to be on committees, because the work of BLSA doesn't get done on its own. And that is the kind of organization and leadership that students can use on their resumes. It's extremely helpful to add to your resume, not only that you've been a BLSA member, but you've been an executive member, you've been a community, one of the committee leaders, chaired a committee. All of this is resume building material, and assists you in interviewing, in other organizations, governance, learning about governance, assists you in board positions later. It's all good, and it's something that if lawyers in the community can help students so that they can actively participate in that way, it's all the better.
Yeah, I definitely joined BLSA to work on some of my own personal skill development, and I think I've improved in many areas, and are actively improving in others. Um, as you know, we're celebrating 30 years as an organization. What has been the greatest shifts and changes that you've seen within the organization over the years?
The organization has certainly matured. I think when BLSA started, and again, being an organization of students, a lot of hits and misses, like every organization in its founding years. But I've really seen a maturity in BLSA, in the leadership of BLSA, in the scope of BLSA. The things that BLSA has undertaken have really been amazing. As I say, working in the community, working with undergraduate students, um, and working with firms. BLSA working with firms and actively engaging with different firms in different endeavors, that has really increased and expanded over the years, and I really respect the work that BLSA has done in that regard. Um, those are things that I think that is something that BLSA should be very, very proud of in celebrating its 30th year, and that will help build the organization as it goes forward.
100%. I think for the 2020-2021 school year, we opened about 3 new chapters. So we're also really proud of that. We have over 20 plus chapters now, and where the work is growing, but also our membership and support. And I applaud you for encouraging other Black law students to get involved on the exec. But what do you hope to see in the next 5, 10, 15 years?
One of the things I hope to see for BLSA, and recognizing that financial wherewithal is always a challenge in every organization that's not for profit, but especially an organization of students, it's sometimes difficult to ask for money. I know that. So what I'd like to see is BLSA approaching firms and being bold, asking for multi-year financial assistance so that maybe BLSA doesn't have to do as much work every year fundraising to do the excellent things they do. We're in a time where firms are recognizing how important it is for diversity, and in particular are looking for diversity to add to their firms, and recognizing the value of diversity and the value of Black students, as well as other diverse students. And I think it's time for BLSA to be able to step forward and say, organizations like ours that are helping students get through law school, supporting the law students, getting them engaged in governance and other issues of leadership, need to be supported by firms. They bring value to firms, and looking for firms to support that value by financial assistance. And I think it's really important for firms to recognize that and be willing to step forward to support BLSA in that way.
Yeah, I will take being bold from this message. I hope to apply to to my life, and hopefully I make some bold and brave decisions that help to push the organization forward. And I was wondering, do you have any final words?
Final words. I think in commemorating its 30th anniversary, BLSA as an organization needs to be proud of itself. It's really added to and helped so many students. I know that in speaking to students and their involvement in BLSA. I encourage every Black student I ever encounter to join BLSA, to become involved in the executive and on committees, because it's really valuable and it's really helped. And the only last words are, I'm sorry that BLSA wasn't around when I was in law school. It's an amazing organization, and it's creating the Black lawyers of the future who will in turn help other Black law students and encourage them to go through as well. So congratulations, and enjoy the conference.
Thank you. I want to thank you for coming to today's Fireside Chat. It was a privilege to have you here with us, sharing your words of wisdom, and just, continue to be this amazing pillar. You are a role model for many, including myself. And, I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you. It was a great chat today.
No.